Welcome to our channel. We are Technic Force and we help grow your business online. Please hit the subscribe button to get more updates. Llama 4 is here. Meta just released Llama 4 and the specs are truly groundbreaking. This video breaks down everything you need to know about these revolutionary new models. Learn about the game-changing mixture of experts architecture that makes these models more efficient and affordable. I'll show you how to access these models, their impressive benchmarks results, and why Llama 4 Scout's 10M context window opens up incredible new possibilities for document processing, code analysis, and personalization. So the Llama 4 is now here, and the numbers are absolutely staggering. So we have 10 million tokens of context for Llama 4 Scout, and nearly 2 trillion parameters for Llama 4 Behemoth. First up, just to give you a sense, Llama 4 Maverick, which is their 400 billion parameter model. So we have this ranked second, just shy of Gemini 2.5 Pro Experimental, above GPT 4.0, Grok 3 Preview, as well as GPT 4.5. So there's three new models: Llama 4 Behemoth, Llama 4 Maverick, as well as Llama 4 Scout. So we have a 2 trillion, a 4 billion, and as well as 109 billion parameter model. So now in terms of context window, Llama 4 Scout has a 10 million context window, whereas Llama 4 Maverick has a native multimodal capabilities with a million context length. Before this announcement, the only models that were able to crack that million tokens of context amongst the frontier were Gemini series of models. So like the Gemini 2.5 Pro Experimental, as well as Gemini Flash models. In terms of Llama 4 Scout, their smallest models, this has 17 billion active parameters with 16 experts. So it's the best multimodal model in the world in its class, more powerful than all previous generations of models. So while fitting on a single H100 GPU. So they mentioned that Llama 4 Scout offers an industry leading context window of 10 million tokens of context and delivers better results than Gemma 3, Gemini 2.0 Flashlight across a broad range of widely reported benchmarks. So now in terms of Llama 4 Maverick, it's a 17 billion active parameter model with 128 experts, and also it's the best multimodal model in its class. So it beats GPT 4.0 as well as Gemini 2.0 Flash across a number of benchmarks. So, in terms of reasoning as well as coding, they mentioned that Llama 4 Maverick is on par with DeepSeek V3. So, they mentioned that Scout and Maverick are the best models yet, thanks to distillation from Llama 4 Behemoth, which is the model with 2 trillion parameters and a staggering 288 billion active parameter with 16 experts. So now, one thing to note, they mentioned that Llama 4 Behemoth is still in training. So they're excited to share more details. This isn't even the final model. So there will be subsequent updates likely in a similar fashion to how they released the Llama 3 series of models, where there was 3.1, 3.2, and then 3.3. So to download these models, you can head to llama.com slash llama-downloads. So you can fill out your information and you'll be able to download the Scout or Maverick model directly from here. Now let's take a moment to understand why the mixture of experts architecture is particularly game changing. In traditional LLMs, so every token activates all parameters in the model, but with Llama 4's mixture of expert approach, each token activates only the parameters that it needs. So, for example, let's just take Llama 4 Maverick, which has 17 billion active parameters, but 400 billion total parameters. So, when processing a token, it goes to the shared expert and just one of the 128 specialized experts. So, in other words, this means you're getting the intelligence of a much larger model at a fraction of the computational cost. So, it's like having 128 specialized consultants, but only calling on the exact expert you need in each specific question. So, rather than asking everyone's opinion every single time. So, overall, this approach will dramatically lower costs as well as latency. And Llama 4 Maverick can even run on single H100. It makes it much more accessible for developers and businesses to be able to leverage this model. Another notable piece is that they mentioned that this model was trained with overall 10 times more multilingual tokens than Llama 3. So these series of models should perform quite well, even in languages outside of English. Now, to touch on Llama 4 Maverick in particular, so across a number of benchmarks, as well as the price performance. So in terms of the pricing here, so this is a pricing estimate with a 3 to 1 blended ratio for input to output tokens. Now, most notably, this model is going to be considerably cheaper than GPT-4o, slightly more expensive than Gemini 2.0 Flash. So we do see better performance basically across the board in a number of different benchmarks. So this is the best in class for image reasoning as well as understanding. Now, in terms of coding as well as reasoning, there are slightly below the DeepSeek V3.1 model. Then for MMLU Pro, we see that this is just shy of DeepSeek V3.1 as well. What is really impressive for GPQA Diamond, this is best in class. Now, where you can really see that is when you compare it to GPT-4o with a 53.6, and for GPQA, we have a 69.8. So, we also see that this model is outperforming GPT-4o on multilingual capability. Now, in terms of long context, again, Maverick is the model with a million tokens of context. So, this is going to be comparable to the size of Gemini 2.0 Flash, which also has a million tokens of context. Whereas when we compare it to GPT-4o as well as DeepSeek V3.1, both of those models respectively only have 128,000 tokens of context. Now, in terms of Llama 4 Scout, so this one that definitely caught a lot of people's attention, where we had the jump from 128,000 tokens of context for Llama 3 all the way up to an industry leading 10 million tokens of context. So they mentioned that this opens up a world of possibilities, including multi document summarization, parsing extensive user activities, personalization tests, and reasoning over a vast code bases. So, just to give you an idea, this is over 7,500 pages of text in a single prompt. And you can imagine putting the works of Shakespeare, Lord of the Rings, as well as the entire Harry Potter series all within just one prompt. Also, this would be the equivalent of millions of lines of code within a single request to the Scout model. And they mentioned here that this highlights their long term goal of supporting infinite context length. So, in terms of benchmarks, here is a needle in a haystack benchmark. We can see the respective results for Llama 4 Maverick, Scout, as well as Scout with video. That's one of the interesting things to remember with these models is that they are natively multimodal. So they mentioned that they train these models with a wide variety of images as well as video frames in order to give them broad visual understanding, including temporal activities and related images. So now in terms of the results for Llama 4 Scout, when we compare that to the previous generation, as well as models like Llama, Mistral 3.1, 24B, as well as Gemini 2.0 Flashlight, we can see almost across the board for all of the benchmarks that they mentioned. So this model basically outperforms with the exception of Live Code Bench. Now in terms of the 2 trillion Behemoth model, now this model isn't available now, but they're giving a glimpse in terms of what it looks like. So here are the results when compared to Claude Sonnet 3.7, Gemini 2.0 Pro, as well as GPT 4.5. And mind you, this model is still in training. And we can see across the board for all of the models that we have benchmarks for that it does outperform. By the looks of it, Llama 4 Behemoth looks like it will be amongst, like I mentioned earlier, one of the best models in the world, especially in areas like coding as well as reasoning. Now, one thing to know with these models is these are just the first open source models of the Llama 4 collection. So I anticipate over the year we're going to have a lot of more Llama 4 releases with all of these models improving, as well as that Llama 4 Behemoth release. So now in terms of being able to access the model, I think a lot of people are going to be excited here that you're going to be able to access both Scout and Maverick on Grok. So as we can see how competitive the pricing is for both of those models at 11 cents per million tokens of input for Scout and only 34 cents per million tokens of output. And for Llama 4 Maverick, that model that is comparable to GPT-4o, we have that price at 50 cents per million tokens of input and 77 cents per million tokens of output. So you're going to be able to access Scout at 460 tokens per second. Now, just to quickly demonstrate how fast Scout is on Grok, so we can see here, I'm asking for 10 paragraphs and it's streaming out at over 500 tokens per second and even faster than the current speed stated. Now, in terms of some other metrics, this is the number one open source model surpassing DeepSeek. This is tied at number one for hard prompts for coding, math, as well as creative writing on the LM Arena, which is basically a platform that allows you to send in a prompt and you will vote on your preferred response between two different options. So, otherwise, I'll put the links to everything that I showed you within the description of the video. So, what do you think of Meta's Llama 4? Let me know your thoughts below. See you next time. Introducing VidCo. Untap your creativity with the best video AIs. Instantly create stunning videos, B-rolls, shorts, intros, and more. Powered by world-class AIs. Get access to top-end and exclusive video AIs like Minimax Video O1, Pyramid Flow, Kling AI, Luma Dream Machine, Hyper 2.5, One Video, Gen 3, VO2, etc. Dual function models included text to video and image to video. Create videos in any style or genre with text to video AIs. Turn any image into a motion video with the top image to video AIs. Any genre, any visual style, VidCo can create any video you want, including live action, hyper-realistic, photorealistic, 3D animation, cartoon, motion graphics, slow motion, pixel worlds, 2.5D visual, etc. VidCo is powerful and easy to use. So what are you waiting for? Get VidCo now. Just go to getvidco.in. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more content, and ring that notification bell. And if you have any questions, please leave a comment below. Thanks for watching.